We gamers love to pinch our pennies, so of course we want to find the best deals for the best games out there. And we've made it just that little bit easier for you by compiling a full list of incredible games that have their lowest prices ever. We're not covering Steam today, as every single game on Steam is incredibly well discounted, but we are still covering Switch, PlayStation and Xbox, and there are plenty of incredible deals that you need to get your hands on. We're kicking things off with survival horror RPG Chernobylite Premium Edition, which is currently 75% off and is only $9.99. Now this deal is going to finish on the 26th, but that is plenty of time to get your hands on this fantastic sci-fi adventure. Set in the wasteland of the Chernobyl exclusion zone, you'll play as a physicist and ex-employee who must investigate the mysterious disappearance of their fiancé. This version of the game includes the full base game, all free content and every bit of DLC, so you get plenty of bang for your buck. There's base building, resource management, stealth, survival and combat, as well as lots of non-linear storytelling, so there's plenty for everyone in this fantastic spooky adventure. Next up, a game that promises a relaxing experience with not a single secret to be found. Easy Delivery Co. is currently 25% off on Switch for just $9.74. And you'll need to scrimp and save, as this poor delivery driver is working at below minimum wage. There's funky beats to listen to while you drive slowly to your destination or blast directly across the forest. And with its simple controls and retro graphics, there is tons of nostalgic fun to be had when you pick this one up in this fantastic sale. Next up, from Hammer 95, and with a 20% discount, is Mullet Mad Jack, a high-octane action shooter that promises lots and lots of arcadey fun with a little roguelite sprinkled in. This shooter puts you directly inside a classic anime, where man and internet have merged and we need dopamine every 10 seconds or we'll die. Sounds a bit realistic if you ask me. You'll blast through tons of fantastic stages, facing new obstacles and enemies with each room. And the more you play, the better you'll get, which will be helpful because you're going to be dying a lot. The game has overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam and was touted by Kotaku as one of the best of 2024. So if you fancy blasting your way through lots of incredible enemies on Switch, then why not check out Mullet Mad Jack before this sale ends on the 23rd. We're keeping it neon-drenched and action-packed with this next deal, which is 66% off RoboBeat. A game all about keeping your finger on the trigger and blasting your way through robots gone rogue in an ever-shifting lair full of wall running, sliding, shooting and keeping in time to the beat. This rhythm shooter has some pretty fantastic reviews, so it's well worth checking it out before this sale ends on the 23rd. As with 66% off and only a $6.79 price tag, this might be a great time to hop into this bounty hunting roguelike. We really are getting some great beats today. If you need something to help you keep cool this July, then why not check out SnowRunner, the Switch 2 edition that is currently 60% off until the 16th. If you need to stare at that cold white stuff to help you cool your body temperature, then why not check out this next generation off-road experience. SnowRunner puts you in the driver's seat of some powerful vehicles and tasks you with conquering some incredibly difficult terrain. But there's also mud, torrential waters and frozen lakes that require you to really knuckle down on your expert driving skills. You can play alone or in 4-player co-op and expand your SnowRunner to a full fleet if you fancy it. There's so many vehicles to unlock, as well as dozens of challenging missions and environments, so if you fancy yourself a bit of an ice road trucker, why not pick up SnowRunner before this deal ends? This next Metroidvania has an overwhelmingly positive set of reviews on Steam. Crypt Custodian is currently on offer on Switch, down 30% for just $13.99, which is an incredible deal for such a fantastic little game. You play as Pluto the cat, a charming little guy who has unfortunately just died. And after a not so successful meeting with the afterlife guardian Kendra, he gets banished to a palace that he must clean forever. There's lots of charming characters to meet and befriend, as well as lots of horrible ghosties and monsters to fight through. There's epic bosses, puzzles, and cleaning to be done in this cozy little Metroidvania. You'll explore a fantastic, sprawling map and enjoy plenty of combat that may have you shaking your paw in frustration. But it'll all be worth it when you finally cleaned every last bit of gunk from this palace and get to discover all of the afterlife's many, many secrets. Last off, and down a whopping 80% for just $4.99, is Souls-like Achilles Legends Untold. A game set in ancient Greece that has you fighting back against gods and rewriting fate with every strike. You play as the famous Achilles and must shape him into the ultimate warrior so he can face those gods and monsters and come out on top. It may not be the best Souls-like on the market, but it has been generally praised for having a solid story, decent combat, and a beautiful world. So if you fancy a decent Souls-like for a pretty cheap price, then this one might be the game that you've been looking for. It is also on offer on Steam, but if you fancy playing it on the handheld, why not pick it up for $4.99 before the deal ends on the 23rd. Next up, moving on to PlayStation, if you fancy picking up two games that came out way back when in the 90s, you can pick up the Luna Remastered Collection for 30% off at just $34.99. You get to play Luna Silver Star Story Complete and Luna 2 Eternal Blue Complete. And with the Luna Remastered Collection, you can play the original games with enhanced graphics, audio widescreen support, as well as different language options and various quality of life improvements. These classic role-playing games have you travelling across a fantasy world, battling enemies and making brand new friends. You can explore these beautiful pixel worlds and fight your way through fantastical stories by picking up this deal before it ends on the 16th. Evil Dead bought us a chainsaw arm, but this next game, Turbo Overkill, brings us what we've all been waiting for, a chainsaw leg. Available now for 70% off at $5.99, this crazy cyberpunk FPS has you playing as Johnny Turbo, an augmented man with hidden arm rockets and a chainsaw that extends from his lower leg that helps him to kill lots and lots of horrible enemies. The enemies you're fighting are the augmented minions of a rogue AI known as Sin, who has possessed the entire population of Paradise. Yet another reason we should stop using ChatGPT. There's wall running, dashing and grappling hooks, as well as sliding, eviscerating foes with your chainsaw leg, and car surfing for just that little bit more added momentum. You'll blast through dozens of stages with secrets, bonus areas and tons of fights to be had if you pick up this incredibly well received and mightily outrageous FPS before the sale ends. We are kicking it back to 1990 now with survival horror game Crow Country that is currently 50% off on PlayStation for just $9.99. Published by SFB Games in 2024, this survival horror game follows Mara Forrest, who travels to an abandoned theme park known as Crow Country in search of its owner, only to discover lots of secrets that the park is hiding. The game is giving old school Resident Evil, with its graphics, gameplay and story, and has overwhelmingly positive reviews on all platforms. So this definitely is one to look into if you're a fan of old school horror games and tank controls. Plus, there is plenty of puzzles and riddles to solve, all whilst avoiding the terrifying beasts that haunt this horrifying theme park. And I'm not just talking about people dressed up as Mickey Mouse in those big mascot suits, which I personally absolutely hate. So roll up to the creepiest theme park in town and pick up Crow Country today before your ticket to this discount expires. Another fantastic deal, with Until Then being 60% off on PlayStation, letting us pick up this little game for just $7.99. This brilliant narrative adventure stars Mark, who after a fateful meeting sets off a chain reaction that totally destroys his life. People disappear and Mark's memories can't be trusted, so it's up to us to figure out the truth and help Mark unravel this mystery before it's too late. With an incredible art style and an unforgettable story, this one has been nominated and won tons of incredible indie awards, as well as having an overwhelmingly positive review score on Steam. Explore this fantastic story with themes of love, loss and friendship for a very affordable price before this deal runs out. If this is all feeling a little bit easy breezy, may I interest you in Blasphemous 2, the critically acclaimed second installment of that terribly brutal Metroidvania series. Developed by the Game Kitchen and published by Team 17 in 2023, this side-scrolling Metroidvania is an endless struggle against tons of brutal enemies and lots of difficult parkour. You'll dive into a whole new world from the first one and tear your way through the monstrous foes that stand between you and your ultimate salvation of ending this horrible cycle. Touted as exactly what a Metroidvania should be like, this Souls-like was a solid 9 and 10 out of 10 across the board. And with this being the Mea Culpa edition, you're saving a whopping 75% on not just the full game, but all of the DLC as well. And with the DLC being $11.99 on its own, and this version just being $9.49, you really are getting everything you could ever possibly want. If what you want is brutal combat and difficult exploration. If so, you and I are not the same. Pick up Blasphemous 2, the Mea Culpa edition now, before this deal ends next week. Another 2D side-scroller now, but this one has anime schoolgirls in it. Don't say we don't treat you to things. Gal Guardian's Demon Purge is currently 75% off on PlayStation, meaning you can pick up this 2D action game for just $6.24. The perfect price to pay to guide these two demon hunter sisters through a demonic castle to save their school. You can swap between which character you control on the fly. Every boss you defeat allows you to wield their weapons, allowing for even more exploration and lots of Metroidvania goodness. If Metroidvanias like Blasphemous are a bit too hard, then luckily Gal Guardians allows you to choose between 3 different difficulty settings: casual, veteran and legend. So if you fancy a more casual experience, this one might just be the one for you. Oh, and did I mention it's also available to play in co-op, so you and a friend can jump into the skirts of Shinobu and Maya and battle your way to victory together. An award-winning puzzler is 50% off as well this week, with Chants of Sennaar being just $9.99 on PlayStation. This critically acclaimed award-winning puzzle game has you playing as a traveller who's on a quest to reunite the peoples of the tower. You'll have to observe, listen, and decipher an ancient language in order to understand what's going on and progress further through the tower. With a gorgeous, sunny colour palette and incredible art style, you'll need to stealth, solve, and speak your way through this wonderful tower to uncover the truth and unveil the mysteries of this incredible community. With awards for Best Game, Best Gameplay, and Best Game Design, this one really is something special. So if you fancy picking it up for a very affordable price and learning a whole new language in the process, then make sure you pick up Chants of Sennaar today. Next up, and last for PlayStation, is Curse of the Dead Gods, which is currently 80% off and only costs us gamers $3.99. Curse of the Dead Gods is a fantastic little roguelite that has you seeking untold riches and accidentally ending up in a cursed temple, with a seemingly infinite labyrinth full of traps, monsters, and of course, bottomless pits. Our favourite kind of pit. With a very similar playstyle to Hades with added traps and fun, you'll use weapons that you find to make yourself unstoppable, battling through hordes of enemies in some very dark passages that are filled with secrets and lots of things that want to kill you. You'll light torches to guide your way and try to battle against tons of dead gods that really want to make sure you're not having a good time. With lots of very positive reviews, this 2021 banger is definitely worth adding to your library. Though must make sure we're not being too greedy with our library, as we may end up in a cursed temple full of traps, explosive, and spikes that come out of every orifice. And lastly, a few deals on Xbox that are definitely worth looking into. First off, we have 70% off Nobody Saves the World. This RPG dungeon crawler has you playing as Nobody, a being that can transform into any other creature in the entire world, be it a slug, a ghost, or a magical little man. You can play this game alone or in co-op, and as somebody who's played it a lot in co-op, I really recommend having a friend to play with, as with each quest you complete and area you uncover, you'll be able to swap between 15 plus different forms, all with their own abilities and skills that can make completing even the most challenging quests lots of fun. There's plenty of places to explore in the vast overworld, and a shape-shifting dungeon that needs clearing in order to stop the calamity and save this magical world. Next up, for something a bit faster and maybe a bit more adrenaline pumping, why not check out Metal Eden, which currently is 50% off, making it $9.99 for new players. This sci-fi FPS has you playing as a slightly saucy soldier who's been sent on a suicide mission to rescue the citizens of an orbital city turned into a deadly trap. You'll fight through waves of cybernetic enemies, track down and face the bosses known as the Engineers, and unlock the secrets of Metal Eden, all whilst looking at an absolutely gorgeous world. With incredibly positive reviews on lots of different platforms, Metal Eden is a lot of fun for anyone who's fancying some fast-paced FPS, or who just fancy looking at a pretty badass soldier as she fights through waves of enemies and looks goddamn hot whilst doing it. This deal ends on the 16th, so make sure you pick up this absolute banger today. And lastly for this list, and not related to Nobody Saves the World, is 2024's Nobody Wants to Die, that is currently on sale at 80% off on Xbox for just $4.99. This detective noir game, set in a dystopian world of New York in 2329, has you investigating a serial killer using an advanced technology to target the city's elite, who just so happen to all be immortal. What could be wrong with a bunch of immortal billionaires, I hear you say? Well, a lot. You'll slow down and rewind time to help solve the mysteries of what's happening. And with a beautifully detailed noir world, there is plenty to look at. With lots of awards under its belt and many, many fantastic reviews, this game was a complete banger when it launched in 2024. So if you fancy solving some mysteries and saving this crazy New York, then pick up Nobody Wants to Die today. Well, that's all the deals we have for you today, but don't forget the Steam Summer Sale ends tomorrow. So if you've been saving your pennies for a game for a little while, why not check if it's discounted? Because I can tell you from experience, there is lots and lots to add to your library.
Thanks so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel to help us continue to be able to bring a voice to the voiceless. Join the over 60,000 indie warriors that have said goodbye to the gaming echo chamber. For even more support, head over to patreon.com/idreamofindiegames, where you can get Discord access, early shows, exclusive content, and more, now with a brand new $2 entry tier. Or check out YouTube memberships for exclusive badges, custom emoji, and other fun perks. Support real people making real things, because here at I Dream of Indie Games, it's always about the games.